Most people don't lose their lives all at once. They lose them slowly by trying to hold on to versions of themselves that have already expired. When things start falling apart, it can feel like you've made a catastrophic mistake. But what if what's ending isn't your life? What if it's the identity that isn't meant to carry you where you're meant to go? I want to share a few principles that I live by. The ones that helped me to level up even when it felt like everything around me was breaking down. And if you're in a season like that right now, this video might help you understand why you're not actually falling behind, you're evolving. So if that resonates with you, I'm Justin Trinity, and welcome to Midnight Sanctuary, a home created for who we are and who we're becoming. Now, let's begin. This is what most people misunderstand about what's actually happening. What's falling apart isn't your life. What's falling apart is the world as you knew it. And that distinction matters because that means you've entered a phase where the old version of you can't lead anymore. This is the phase where things are meant to be unclear, where you're meant to feel lost, where you're meant to feel confused, where you're meant to be unsure of your next move. And that confusion isn't a problem, it's a signal that this is the beginning of your new path. It's what shows up when the identity you've been living from no longer fits the life you're growing into. And this phase isn't asking you to have the answers yet. It's just asking you to begin being very honest with yourself. Honest about what's no longer working. Honest about what you're ready to outgrow. Confusion is a natural part of the process. It's a natural step that happens in everyone's life. And once you realize that, the next step becomes unavoidable. But first, you have to be willing to be brave. This is something I want you to keep in mind from this point forward. It took me a while to fully embrace this, but the more I did, the more my life began to change. Here's the principle. You don't level up by holding on to your old life. You level up by becoming someone who can hold on to a new one. Let me give you an image. Picture a monkey swinging through the jungle. The only way it's able to move forward is by letting go of one vine and grabbing onto the next. It can't hold both. You can't hold both. That's how growth works. You can't create space for a new life if you're still clinging on to the old one. And if you're listening to this, I believe it's because some part of you already knows that. I believe you're willing to move forward, even if it means letting go of who you used to be. But remember, this is a step-by-step process. It doesn't need to be rushed because a mistake most people make is thinking they have to move faster. But motion doesn't necessarily mean evolution. Have you ever noticed how some people are always busy or always tired, yet a year goes by and nothing has actually changed? That's because speed doesn't equal direction. You can be moving constantly, but if you're still making decisions from an old version of yourself, you're just running in circles. I was guilty of this for a long time. And the question that finally broke me out of this wasn't, what should I do? It was this, what wouldn't I do? What choices would I stop making if I wasn't operating from a place of fear, familiarity, or an identity that I've already outgrown? Because your life is a result of the decisions you made up until now. And leveling up doesn't come from doing more, it comes from choosing differently, choosing in alignment with who you're becoming, creating a new direction for your life, and limiting distractions so you can be laser focused. Your life can vastly change within a year, but it's the right decisions that also feel right that will make that happen. And when you finally slow down enough to see clearly, you start realizing that not everything in your life can come forward with you. So contrary to what a lot of people assume, not everything is meant to be healed. Some things are meant to be outgrown, and that doesn't make your past experiences or anything else meaningless. It just means they serve their purpose. Sometimes you have to level up before you can even see your past clearly. It's like right now you're in the middle of a storm and you can barely see the next steps in front of you. But the moment you finally level up, you'll be able to look at everything in a brand new perspective. And sometimes the parts that feel unfinished are the very things that will push you into building a life that can support your healing. Now, there's no one size fits all path here, but whatever you do, please do not heal yourself in circles, because there comes a point where healing becomes a distraction from the decisions that will actually move your life forward. And this is the part that most people aren't prepared for, because outgrowing parts of your life doesn't just change your circumstances, it also changes who recognizes you. Leveling up requires the willingness to become unrecognizable, the willingness to sit through periods of isolation while you quietly build a life that actually feels like yours. The next version of you might not be validated by the people who connected with the old one. And this is where most people stop, because most people want growth without social consequences. They want it to be painless. They want everyone to come with them. But life doesn't work that way. There's always an exchange. Sometimes it's comfort, other times it's familiarity, and sometimes it's the very people you thought would always be there to support you. This realization can be heartbreaking, but what's rarely talked about is this: you don't lose people because you leveled up. You lose the alignment you once had together. But with every loss, there is a gain. And that gain will be the people who will meet you as the person you're becoming. What you're currently building requires space. And that space feels like loneliness before it feels like freedom. So hang in there and don't you dare give up. Leveling up isn't painless, but neither is staying in a life you've already outgrown. And if you're in the middle of this right now, what comes next can only meet you when you stop pretending to be who you used to be. Keep going. I'm sending you so much love. Share this with someone who needs to hear this, and thank you for spending time with me. Stay awake, stay sovereign, and stay becoming.